Okay, and see, this is the stuff that I be talking about, y'all. This is the stuff I be talking about. I said it on my other videos with the Palestine video. I've seen it with other people online sitting there talking about Americans as a whole. I just saw on Twitter how somebody was saying, K-pop was running, the culture. Everybody's trying to copy K-pop. I think they were talking about, it was a specific girl group, but then I remember somebody else was saying Flow was like based off of K-pop, which is so crazy. And then somebody was in the comments listing a lot of Black American girl groups, right, who have been very influential. TLC, to name one of them. I can't remember all the other ones, girl. But a lot of them. And, they were going around saying, oh my gosh, Americans think that they, run everything. Americans think that they own everything. This is a problem with America. And this is very interesting because this same user, she was also saying in a couple of other comments, like, I know more about American history than Americans do. I know more about Black American history than Americans. And this is very interesting because if you know so much about the history, then why do you guys still persist to be obtuse when Black Americans act the way they act when they're talking about their culture? So many of you go around and say you're confused, you don't think you're African, and then when people say they're African but they're also a Black American, then you say, okay, you're still confused, or you don't even know where you're from. Or some people, like, it's multifaceted. A lot of different people from a lot of different countries say different things but also say some of the same things, which is basically Black Americans are dumb, just off of the basis of them being an American. And so I didn't really realize this. I don't know where I was, but I woke up and then, I guess I was woke. And I realized that American identity changes so much. And maybe that is what is causing so much of the issues when we're having this discussion. It is not my fault as an American that the American government has done things to countries outside of our country. That's really not my fault. Yes, we vote a certain way, but historically a lot of Black people have voted for Democrats. A lot of Black people have voted for, progressive ideals. Even though, being from the South especially, a lot of Black people are conservative. But the conservatives are so racist, and a good amount of the Black people who are conservatives, who are outspoken for the Conservative Party, have basically been coons, that even with us being historically conservative or having conservative values as a community, we still choose Democrats, right? And even then, we do not get to change the trajectory of so many different aspects of the country simply because, oh, well, we saw you in Hollywood. We seen you in movies. We seen you in other parts of pop culture that has been exported to our country. That's great. That's amazing. But that does not mean that has any type of political power. It was Malcolm X that said, basically, I'm paraphrasing, we are the only groups of people who have celebrities representing us and not politicians and not scholars and intellectuals. We have people who are in pop culture and entertainment that are going around campaigning for Black people. That was something that was happening with, the Kamala Harris election, where, they had Beyonce, they had Kelly Rowland, they had all of these other different types of Black people. Cardi B, one of the Migos, they had all of these different types of people that were going up there, representing. It was great. It was Black. Oh my goodness, Kamala Harris is Black. She's there for Black people, even though there was a whole interview that said that she was not going to do anything just for Black people, because why would she do that? Anything that she does for other people is also for Black people. It's the whole thing. And I'm saying all of this because this person saying that Black Americans do hold privilege outside of America, that's just a simple fact. It's the Americanness of it all. And so that's why I say that when we're having this conversation and African people go around and they say, you guys are doing too much, you guys are making it seem like we think that you're different, you guys are making it seem that you guys are not being accommodated, that there aren't people in Africa that are being nice. I said that's one of the reasons why. It's because of us being American. It's because of the power that national identity holds. And funny enough, in them identifying that as a power, in them knowing that that's a power, in them believing that, okay, because you're an American, that you have more money, that's why they charge you more, right? If you are somebody that's going to the country or certain countries in Africa. In knowing that, we cannot sit there and say that there also wouldn't be gripes, that there also wouldn't be frustration and anger, because everyone else around the world also has shown resentment towards Americans, whether they Black, whether they white, whether they Asian, but especially Black Americans, because also, what is also global? Anti-Blackness. What is also global? anti-Black American. We love the Black American aesthetic. We love some of the culture. We love that, but we do not respect you necessarily as a cultured people, as a people that actually had to, a rags to riches story, that actually had to make a living, that actually had. You grew up with a golden pacifier, with a nice mansion on top of the highest hill in the gated community. You do not know what it means to actually have to suffer, and in fact, your Americanness is part of the suffering in some of the countries here in Africa. So, we can't sit there and be on the same playing field with acknowledging that and think that just because we hear good little stories and have different kind of testimonies of people saying they're doing good in Africa, that that's somehow going to move every Black American to save their money, do what they need to do, and they're going to all go to Africa and it'll be a nice little kiki. That's not realistic. And this is why I say fundamentally, because of the history, because of what the American identity means around the world, we as Black Americans have to deal with it ourselves, and we have to make sure that we care for ourselves as a community the best way we know how. Not saying that every African is bad, not saying every African wants to sit there and fight, but there is not going to be a grand reunion when you still hold resentments of certain things or certain privileges that I have simply due to the fact that I got lucky even though I wasn't lucky, but my ancestors got fucked up. But then again, it all paid off in the end,